I know I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but please, everybody, be patient with me. Regardless of how you view this case, remember what it is about. There is a child who lost his life and a woman who may be facing a life sentence, okay? So remember what this case is about and remember the decorum. Remember what this case is about. None of these people in here are actors. They are all associated with this case in some fashion. It's not television. Your phone is, if something's going on with your phone and it's really important, I get that. Go in the hallway. Also, please understand, and I know that sometimes people say that I can be really direct, but I try to be that way so that there's not a lot of confusion. This is not a guideline. This is not a suggestion. This is the process that we're going to follow in the courtroom, and it applies to everyone. I cannot imagine the pressure a defendant feels during any trial. Nevertheless, you cannot act disrespectfully in words or actions. Mr. Lowry, if you would step forward and raise your right hand, please, sir. A little farther forward.
Just go right in the middle of the court.
All right. Go ahead and have a seat in the witness stand. Please watch your step as you step into the stand.
Good morning.
Morning.
Could you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your first and last name?
Dakota Lowry. DAKOTALOWRY.
And what is your relationship with Letecia Stauch?
That's my sister.
Pretty tough for you being here right now?
Yes, sir.
Hang in there, all right?
Why, teacher?
Do you need a moment?
Take a break for a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have you step back in the back of the jury room for a few minutes. All for the jury, please. Need a few minutes?
Yes, I just want to get this over with.
Okay. I understand that you want to get it done. I understand that. We have to have the jury in here, and you're going to be subject to questioning by the prosecution and then by your sister's attorneys. Do you understand all that? Okay. Just do the best that you can. Just take a breath. Do you need some water or anything like that?
Yeah.
There's some water right there if you want some, or you can pour it into that cup there. Everybody's a little nervous when they're on a witness stand. Just take a deep breath.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It happens. It's an emotional case. I get that. You just have to do the best that you can to get through the testimony, okay? All right. All right, let's go ahead and bring the jury back in.
The ache that I have for you, to hold you, to hug you, to tell you how much I love you, and to see your smile and your innocence.
Stauch. Stauch. I have some words from my daughter Elena. I will address in the middle of my speech, but they're written in yellow, so I don't know if I can leave it to a child. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever God may be for my unconquerable soul. But from the moment I did not see the Volkswagen Tiguan, or however you say it, at French Elementary on that Tuesday evening, a clear direction for finding Gannon pointed directly and precisely at Letecia. I stood still and stood firm in knowing that only one person had the information needed to find Gannon. Now I say woe to the person who questions a father's resolve when the safety and well-being of his children are at stake. But it was only by the grace of God that Gannon's precious body was finally found. My firstborn son being put into a Ziploc bag after he was born to help regulate his body temperature, and now searching for and never finding my son again. I have but one choice, and that is the times of trial and tribulation, to have that peace and be still. 2 other people torn to pieces as a result of this are Gannon's sister Lena and Harley. Speaking of Harley, I feel as though I've lost 2 children as a result of this tragedy. One of which I will never see on this earth again, and the other which I do not know if a relationship can be salvaged with. Normally you might be concerned by your little girl talking to the utility guy working in the front yard, but in this case, it was the inside of her own home that was of grave concern. Nonetheless, her loss, Lena's loss, is like none I can even imagine. And these are her words. Once again, they're in yellow, so I'll do the best I can. And this is what I asked her if she wanted to say anything to Letecia, and this is what she said in her sweetest mind that she has, and that it is never all right to do these things. Now for my precious, premature firstborn son, get it? I never would have ever thought you'd be in danger, buddy, or I wouldn't have not left you. At home with what turned out to be your murderer and the last person to ever see you on this earth. I'm so sorry. Me and Landon already had a conversation about this, and I owe her an apology, as well as she already gave me one, that we allowed Letecia to manipulate us into some of the pain and disagreements that we had between one another. And Landon, I'm sorry. But I will say this. Letecia was not the glue to keep everything together. She was not the answer. And this is not a jab, Landon, okay? Letecia, you were not the answer. I asked that for every mile she drove Gannon across the country, she spent 1 day in solitary confinement. I also pray that every night before she falls asleep, her last breath before she drifts off sounds just like the breath that she describes Gannon breathing as life left his body. And that all through her sleep she dreams of all the fun they had at Disney and other places we went throughout our time together. And that every morning as she is about to wake, the last words Gannon spoke or screamed or cried.
No matter what the sentence is, we'll never bring Gannon back. But it will go a long ways towards healing this community. I hope healing Landon. I hope healing Al.
You have a right to address the court at this point in time regarding any matter that you want me to consider for sentencing. Do you have anything that you wish for me to consider, ma'am? All right. And I'm going to apologize before I do this. I've heard a lot. I'm going to take about 10 minutes to put my thoughts in order. I'll come back with my sentencing at 3:25.
All rise.
A parent's worst nightmare is getting a phone call letting them know that something has happened to their child. I've also heard it said that one of the worst tragedies a parent can experience is to outlive a child. It never leaves them. I cannot fathom the pain Mr. Stauch and Ms. Bullard have experienced as a result of the defendant's actions. Neither Mr. Stauch nor Ms. Bullard will ever see their son graduate from high school, go through the joy and the pain of that first love, or get married. They will never know what kind of impact their son may have had on the world if only he had lived to become an adult. And had Gannon's body not been found, they never would have known what happened to Gannon. And I cannot imagine the pain and sense of loss associated with that. You betrayed your daughter, Harley Hunt. This is a young woman that trusted you to put her interests above yours. This is a young woman who believed in you and believed you were innocent of this crime right up until the time that you pled not guilty by reason of insanity. And she still loves you. You were supposed to protect her. I cannot imagine the guilt she feels. There is no evidence that she had anything to do with the murder or your cover-up of it. The incredible strength of will and courage that it took for her to come in and testify is amazing to me. But she did it because, as she said, it was the right thing to do. You betrayed your stepson, and you took his life. You took away everything he was and everything he could ever become. Your claim that a mental health issue caused the murder in this case is a disservice to all those who struggle with mental health issues every day. It is not hard to imagine Gannon saying something, "You're not my mom. I want my mom. I want my dad." And that would be enough to make you really angry. And chillingly, it would also explain how you were able to mimic the sound of Gannon breathing in one of your sessions with Dr. Lewis. Those were probably close to his last breaths. He was dying but not dead. I'm also reminded of the look you had on your face when you slipped your handcuffs while being transported back to Colorado and attacked Deputy James. I shudder to think that that was probably the last thing that Gannon saw before he died. You have shown no remorse throughout this process. The people who suffer from the mental disorder you claim are terrified because their free will has been taken from them and they are being subjected to things and experiences they don't understand and don't have any recollection of. Anyone who's been in my courtroom before knows that I've said sentencings are the most difficult thing that I do. That's especially true in cases where someone has lost his or her life. I have handled hundreds, if not thousands, of criminal cases over the years. I have had a number of cases which have demonstrated one person's capacity for cruelty toward another human being. I can, however, say without hesitation that the facts in this case are the most horrific I have ever seen. Your conduct in this case deserves the maximum punishment that I can impose under Colorado law. As such, with respect to the charge of first-degree murder after deliberation, I remand you to the custody of the Colorado Department of Corrections for the remainder of your life with no possibility of parole. With respect to the charge of murder in the first degree of a child under 12 by a person in a position of trust, I remand you to the custody of Colorado Department of Corrections for the remainder of your life with no possibility of parole. Is there anything else that the prosecution wishes for me to address?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Defense? Court will be in recess.